We had hundreds of people in that room, and the energy was powerful, and I really had them bring it. I was screaming, come on, come on, the reign of the dragons, that's right here, right now.
I'm the first Viking who wouldn't kill a dragon.
First to ride one, though.
Hi, it is so nice
Hello.
to meet you. It is truly an honor. I'm so excited to be here. I told Dean How to Train Your Dragon is my favorite movie in the entire world. And I was kind of scared for this new version, but I loved it. And I'm just so happy to be here. Something I loved about this version is how the relationship between Hiccup and Stoic feels more complex. Dean, why was it important for you to give this dynamic more weight in this version? And Gerard, how did your portrayal of this father change in this version?
Well, I can start by saying that we tried to write a little bit more into the relationship because we knew that we had these powerful actors to play the role, and we could play it with a lot of truth and authenticity. And there's something very cathartic about this relationship to me, because I was a teenager who had a kind of tough relationship with my father sometimes.
Okay.
And he died before I could ever make amends.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's like when Stoic says to his son that he's proud of him, it's like, for me, it's like therapy, you know?
Yeah, it's
because
such a beautiful
it's the moment I never had.
Yeah.
And I knew that Jerry could really deliver that with power.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, you know, in the live action, I'm able now to be in a scene and give many more different colors.
Mm-hmm.
All those aspects that are the father-son relationship, the awkwardness, the humor, the doubting, the preciousness, the
Helmet
the
moment.
tension. Yeah, and I could play, and so could Mason. We could play those colors together, and then have Dean come in, and it just felt like we were hitting those scenes, for me anyway, a lot better than I could in the animated movies. It just, like you say, more depth, more emotional complexity.
Yeah, and it shows. It's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Was there a particular scene or moment on set that made you both think, like, yes, we've captured the magic?
I think for me, it's the first real scene between Stoic and Hiccup. When Hiccup comes home, he couldn't kill Toothless in the woods.
Yeah.
And his father, in the meantime, has decided he's going to put him in dragon training.
Mm-hmm.
I think that dance, it's a very similar scene to the animation,
Yes.
but we have now the benefit of 3 movies and a whole understanding of this relationship and where it's going to go, where Hiccup has to travel, as a young man to become the leader. And so you have all of that information, and like we added a few bits about how important it is that Hiccup become the man that Stoic wants him to be. And it sets up a really interesting and heartbreaking dynamic. There's humor in there, but there's also like something very relatable, I think, for any child with their
Yes.
parent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and for me, again, it's probably with Mason, and I think it's when the relationship comes to a head, when you realize there's no denying the fracture between the two of us anymore, and the threat that he has now become to me as a leader, and the threat that I am to him, and everything that he wants to be and feels he could give back to us. But also the scene where I make the speech to everybody at the beginning, when I'm kind of warmongering.
Yes.
That was so much fun. We had hundreds of people in that room, and the energy was powerful, and I really had them bring it. I was screaming, come on, come on, and I remember that day. I mean, that atmosphere was tangible, which again is something that we could give in this movie. I think you feel that energy more from people than perhaps you did in the animated films.
I would have loved to be there. And in this new version of Berk, actually in that scene, we see a much more culturally, that's a hard word to say, diverse community that blends different traditions. Even we have new adult characters in that scene for you, like in leadership. Dean, what inspired you to make this change in this version? And Gerard, how did this shift impact Stoic's dynamic in leadership?
The history of it is we never explained why the tribe of warriors on Berk were there. In the animation movie, they were just there, and dragons were attacking them. But we thought there was an opportunity to deepen the mythology.
Yeah.
So we know that Vikings traveled far and wide. They'd been to the Far East and the Silk Road, and even North Africa. And so we decided that maybe in each of these regions, dragons have been a problem. So the Vikings recruited the best dragon fighting warriors from everywhere and brought them to Berk because they knew that somewhere close there was a big dragon's nest. And now they've been here for generations and they're tired. They want to go home. And it all lies upon Stoic, the current chief, to keep them engaged and to keep their spirits high. And so he has to play the part of a politician,
Yeah.
you know, and a leader, but also he has this vulnerability, which like, I don't know what to do with my son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as well as the weight of and stress of what's going on with my son. There's just a heaviness bearing on Stoic, having to look after this tribe, make sure they're protecting their values, protecting their beliefs and their traditions, which feels even greater now because they've come from all over the world. Before there was a more local feel. It was just this local tribe, but these people have traveled from far and wide. And therefore, I think there's a more of a global dimension, a lot more people to think about, and that was interesting to play, I think.
Yeah, and you get to explore in the new films as well, so that's exciting.
Mm.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you.
was so nice to meet you, and I'll see you at the premiere.
Very nice to meet you.
Cheers.
I hope the people of Chile like the movie.
Yeah, no, they love it, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.